Je anilo premadano karma kacho.
And then if there was time, we would talk after. So we would talk about this, and then we were talking about Indranila. And he would talk about when she first came and how he would dress her, because she didn't know how to dress in Sankirtan and do all these things. And then he would say, you know, she has done so much service for me. There's nothing I can do to repay her. It's impossible. So when he said that, again, it was one of those times when I'm just like, you know, it's like so much heart coming out. And every time that happened, it was just like bringing more out in me of seeing this is what this person wanted, and this is how he wanted to deal with people. Then I would say about maybe 2 years ago, probably about 2 years ago, there was a dramatic change in him, and he came to a point when we were talking about a devotee who was doing a project that many people were criticizing because the project was not up to Western standards. And it was a wonderful project, and we were talking about it, and we were saying how the devotees criticized, or some devotees criticized it. And he said, why do they have to criticize? Why can't they just appreciate it? Why can't they just accept it and glorify and encourage? So there was this point in his life where he just, I saw, because I worked with him with Krishna Consciousness in 93, and because he's so intelligent and so experienced and so capable, it's difficult not to be a little critical of things that don't go right. It's just the nature of being smart. You see things that are wrong. And that was his nature. He was trained by Prabhupada, so he used to be very critical of how things go. And at a certain point in his life, I saw that aspect of him was very distasteful. And then I saw at a certain point, he just stopped criticizing. He didn't criticize anybody or anything at all. He just wanted to be positive. So all this was just working on my heart. And it had such a powerful effect. And then sometimes my wife would allow me to read the letters, the emails back and forth that he would write to her. I couldn't, just the affection that he was giving to her and she was giving to him, I really couldn't understand. It was on a very, very deep level. And I said, where is this coming from? Why and how? I don't understand, but it was something that, again, impressed me. And then so often, when he would come here, he would say, I'm so glad you're here. And one of the reasons I came to Dallas was so I wouldn't have to get involved in the temple. That was, I was actually coming here to start a business, and every temple I've ever been in, they really pull you in. You can't get things done. So if I come to Dallas, they won't pull me in because there's not a lot going on. And so it's like he would say, I'm so glad you're here. I'm like, what am I doing? Just you're here. I'm so happy. So he was just showing appreciation. That was just his nature. And that was something that I think Krishna allowed me to see because I needed that so much. I needed to see that, and I needed to see the relationships he had with all these devotees. And, of course, the one thing I didn't like was when he would chastise his disciples, especially when they did something that I thought was pretty insignificant, especially during prasadam. That was the time to do. Something went wrong during prasadam, he didn't like that. And, these lights would go off in my mind. Guru abuse, you can't do that. Here's a new disciple. You can't, oh, ABC, stop this. Obviously, not that far, but, it would bother me. But the thing I noticed is that it was only on rare occasions that disciples were really disturbed by it. Because he had this other side, which was so thick with affection, he could get away with doing things that I think some gurus would have a hard time doing. Because I've seen some gurus blow their disciples up. Because you've got to, as we say, used to bring them in with the sweet sauce and train them up with the hot sauce. So that sweet sauce comes so thickly and so often that he can give the hot sauce, and I would be amazed at the disciples. And just like, it was like, he screwed in, he screwed in. That was it. They just they understood. They understood him. And then, there's one last thing I want to say before
You said more than
I have to leave.
Huh?
Guru Bhakti was speaking, and she was expressing that she doesn't know how she's going to go on in Krishna consciousness because Gurudev pushed her so much. And I was thinking that I think probably Gurudev, well, one other thing I want to say. I'll do it next time. I listened to all the Mayapur, Vrindavan, Dallas, Houston, all the devotees speaking about Gurudev. And one of the things that I noticed that amazed me was that he had relationships with far more people than I ever realized. And not just ordinary relationships. But these devotees were saying, I talked to him, 3 days before he went to India, we were emailing. But this is like long lists of devotees practically going on and on. I couldn't believe. Myself, I spoke to him the night before he went to Mayapur. And just on and on, devotees saying, 2 weeks ago I spoke to him, 1 week ago, 1 day ago, John saying he called me every day. And every devotee had some relationship with him that was very, very deep. I was amazed at the number of relationships he had and how deep they went. And when Guru Bhakti said, I don't know how I'm going to go on, I began to think, your Guru has so many close friends and so many deep relationships, you don't have to worry. You've got the best uncles in the world. These people are there, like a fire department, as soon as you need it. I can't say everything is going to happen, but I just don't know. I sense that he had deeper relationships than anyone. He has friends that will do anything for him, and I think they're all there. And so you say Gurudev left, yeah, but what did he leave you? He left you all these wonderful God uncles who do anything, wonderful disciples, temples. He left you so much. So in that sense, we can't regret it. We can't lament. So, thank you very much. Gurudev,
Thank you, Mahatma Prabhu. Mahatma Prabhu ki. Anyone would like to come up here? Would you like to say something, Kartikeya Prabhu? We'll give you 5 minutes. Over about that, $1 per minute. Kartikeya Prabhu ki.
no problem for Kartikeya, he's rich. He can go all night.
He's got a cell phone waiting for a call from Gurudev.
Let me call me.
Krishna Consciousness, Tamal Krishna Goswami, When I first heard what had happened, I was in Puerto Rico and was working late, and it's like, I don't know, after 10 o'clock at night or something, that I got a phone call on my cell phone from my wife, and she told me, she was hysterical on the phone, and she told me what happened. And it just didn't. It was like I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and I was in total denial. No, this didn't happen. This is a mistake. And actually, after I finished what I was doing, I went home, and Nandini was. She was in tears, like sobbing. It was, we just stayed up basically all night at night, in complete disbelief of what we heard or what had happened. I was living with, my mother was visiting from Argentina at the time. she's a nice lady and somewhat favorable to the movement, I think. But I say, come on, why you take him? And you leave her. I mean, her life is that. I mean, it was impossible to put it all together. And I have gone through, I'm still going through a lot of mixed feelings of mixed feelings, very mixed feelings with someone on a transcendental way. I should be really happy and rejoiceful of what has happened with Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, and on the other hand, I should be celebrating that he achieved the goal of life that we will come here to attain. And on the other hand, I feel angry at Krishna and frustrated and sometimes I feel abandoned and all these crazy things that come up. So the only solace that I have is just to walk back into my memory banks and just relive a lot of the times that we spent together. I don't know why she gave me the amount of mercy and time and personal care and relationship that he gave me, because I certainly didn't deserve it, not by dint of service, because I haven't done much, not by dint of my sadhana, because it's not what it should be. But he kept, like Maharaja said, giving and giving and giving, and with such a fatherly loving concern. I remember at a time when my wife and I were having some difficulties. We were living in California then, and he would get out of his way to come to Los Angeles or someplace close. We were living in San Diego at the time. So that in his way to India, or his way to Hong Kong at the time, or where he was going, and so that he could stop someplace where he can give me his time of his association. And we will talk about, of course, always Krishna, always, and Krishna Consciousness, always, but we talk about relationships between my wife and I, and why I should and why I shouldn't go this way or that way. And always he reassured me that he was preaching to me, obviously, that the best thing that can happen to me, I will try to fix the situation and stay with my wife and my family. And he quoted me verses from the Bhagavad Gita and different things and preached to me so expertly that he would live, but it never ever took me out, made me feel guilty, made me feel that I was letting him down or nothing like that, and said, I want you to know that I didn't initiate you and your wife as a package. Both of you are my disciples. You are my disciple, and your wife is my disciple. And no matter what happened, that relationship is there for good and to stay. And he nursed me and nurtured me through these hard times with such a loving expertise, that I don't think that the best of the psychologists, Monday psychologists could have that. I had a chance to associate with him in his stay in my home at times for 2 or 3 days. My wife will cook for him, he will be changing his Radha modalities with such a attentiveness and focusedness. He will let me tackle in bed, massage his feet, We'll go for walks in the streets of Beverly Hills, talking about things. We're living in Tiburon, California, which was a little pathway around the bay, and we would take walks in the morning by the bay. 1989, I was in Mayapur, and he was there, and just by chance, I was going to be his senior devotee visiting that festival. Was not very, obviously, not many Chilean devotees in Mayapur area. So totally by default, I was there. I became his servant, during that festival, and it was. In fact, there were some devotees that are here, like Rati Manjari, and there's another devotee, Gopali. There were devotees that were coming to take shelter of Guru. They used to be Bhagavan disciples. And they communicate, I got these young devotees here, and I should make sure you take care of them. He had me, he was bringing me to meetings, and he had me organizing chants, and they were mainly younger ladies, that's what they were, a lot of ladies. And he had me cutting apples for them, and fixing things. And in all of these things, all through the life, I don't know why. Like I said, I don't deserve it. I came to Krishna Consciousness when I was 32, and always lived beyond my means. So I always had nice cars and like Mercedes Benz and things like that I couldn't afford them. I guess my ego needed. So because of that, I was lucky because I got to I knew my false ego, so he wasn't taken to the airport and back, pick him up, and I got to do a lot of service that way, just because I was a show off basically. But because of that, also he always wanted to serve his brothers, and so I was always picking up sannyasis and gurus and taking here and there. So somehow or another, in a completely unqualified way, I received a lot of his association, but I also received a lot of his brothers association, and I saw one thing that I witnessed in him was in many different instances how he associated with his brothers. Where in Los Angeles, he was staying with Maharaja's house, in Beverly Hills. Also in LA, I remember him visiting Virabat with his wife, what's his name?
Carta.
Carta. That very, very close friends. We went to their apartments, and they had a very first class apartment with big, huge pictures, kind of like these pictures here in the temple room, pictures of Vrindavan, and they sat there, and all of a sudden it was like the mood just went to a different thing. This thing that I was watching a movie, so to speak, because they got into, wow, look at these. Like they were pictures on the wall, but it was like they entered into the pictures and they went to Vrindavan, and they started to relate about Vrindavan and Indian Krishna, and it was just so amazing. I constantly had that opportunity to see him associate with his brothers, and he was so incredible. I joined in '82 or something like that, and all that I keep hearing from everybody was, Tamal Krishna Goswami, the hot, the heavy, the hot tamale, how they used to call it, things like that. And I personally never, ever experienced that. I know he had it, I've seen it, and I know, but for the life of me, I don't know why he dealt with me with that sweet sauce that Mahatma always spoke of. And as the years went by, I realized why. Because he knew that I couldn't take it any other way. He knew that my ego needed that kind of strokes and that If he would have gone any other way, he would have flew out. And this, that he loved me enough to don't want me to ever go anywhere and stay by his side. And I think one of the, in that festival of Mayapur in 1989, I remember I wrote in one of the Vyasa Puja offerings, but it was truth. After I served them, but here was one of the best. How much time left I have?
Go for it.
I was in Mayapur and he said, it's very hot here, what kind they got a pass with everybody. It's very jovial, so he says, Jayapataka Maharaja, what kind of way to treat his guests is this? He's very hot, I need a fan, Pratika, go get a fan. So anyway, he was staying in this one building in the 4th floor, and I don't even remember the name of the buildings. And then Jayapataka Maharaja's place is in the next building on the very top floor on the terrace. And so he says, you gotta go there and tell Jayapataka Maharaj, I need a fan. So I have to take in a bath, because it's about 4 o'clock, really hot in India. I got my tea, my body, everything cleaned up, and I know the girls are going to come, and I got to be taking care of them and all that. So, so anyway, I go down 4 floors there, run across, then 6 floors up, and I go there, and there was Jayapataka Maharaj on the top, having some snacks with some disciples, so I never really met him before. And he's so big, he's Mr. India and all that, so I was kind of, I approached him, it's amazing, serving Tamal Krishna Goswami, he wants to know if you have a fan, that you can provide him. He wants a fan, he wants a fan, okay, well, he's always wanting something, but Tamal Krishna Goswami, so he says, okay, go to the room and get that fan. I go in there, and there is one of those old fans, total metal, right? Rusted, dirty, metal, heavy, one of those things. And I look at it, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to like this, But he said, that's what I got. So, so I pick up this thing, I'm like, 6 floors down, the fire walking up again, and going out force, and I'm sweating, my tingle is running all over the place, it's getting late, and I bring the fan, and just as I thought when I bring the fan, I said, what is this? What is this? I don't want this, take it right back. Take it right back. I just what kind of fun is this, I mean, how am I going to have my guests here and I get the sauce and it's good. I got the fan back, 4 floors, going out. And as I got back to the terrace, Pataka was waiting for me with a big green and so he gave me a nice fan. So it was so nice. So I mean, I probably lost 10 pounds a day, and it was great. But in that festival, actually, my Guru Maharaj, he knows it. I told it to him then, and I brought him the Vyasa Puja. He actually, by his hand, he took me to the spiritual world that night. That night I visit Vaikuntha somewhere. As I said, just because he was so merciful, and he always has such a great association, I spent a lot of time with the top brass of Ishvan. And so I was invited in Gorakhpurani, I was invited to, well, I believe, if I recall correctly, there was a feast that I think was being offered by Shivaram Maharaj. I think he had gotten the quarters, if I remember correctly, he had the quarters of Babananga, because they were all black marble, completely opulent, personified, and I think they used to be Babanandas. But anyway, so mainly sannyasis and gurus and few other devotees, so Prabhupada disciples too and stuff. And they took me there because I was a, they say serve the king and leave my one, right? So it was a started with bhajans and all that, and it turned into an incredible sweet kirtan, and we were breaking the fast with an Ekadasi feast, and it was very open, fruits, India style, mangoes and things that, pineapples and they said to me, and it was the moon. I mean, the moon actually this huge, or the full moon, rising right, through the window. You can see it coming up. And one days, I was there, and I was in awe, all these. And they said, called me and says, "Here, I want you to sit next to me." He was sitting in a chair, and I sat right next to him on the floor. And he says, and I look at him like, "What do I do?" And he says, "Let go, just let go, be here." And I got into the kirtan, I got into that loving mood of him, and he kind of touched my shoulder like this, rubbed my shoulder like this, and I mean, that day, I'm an attached household there, like businesses and all kinds of things, and you all experience that. That moment, nothing mattered to me, nothing, not my wife, not my children, nothing, not my Mercedes, nothing. It was like, my heart was like a jar of honey that just keeps pouring out and out and out. And I was there chanting Hare Krishna, looking at me, and everyone said, "Oh, he looked at to me with those blue eyes that he had, And I just kind of closed my eyes and was like in a meditation and watching him and all the other devotees, all the other sannyasis, and it was a place of anxiety. That's what it was. It was just wonderful. He took me to the spiritual world, and that moment, because he was the monk was was a moment, but it has kept me going all my life because I want more of it, and I want more of it, and I know it's there, and I know that that's where we belong, and we want it to belong. And I owe that to my most beloved Gurudev. I saw so many of your devotees here, and some of your brothers, and I looked and I said, "What I really want to go now?" But me, I'm Italian, I talk to my hands. And so I'm glad people that are going to do now, and what I realize is that what we do now, is that we have each other. We have each other. We have us, the disciples, the brothers, the sisters, the sannyasis, our uncles, and all that. And we need to hang out really, really tight, really close together. And he's going on to the Prabhupada's mission, which was his mission. Thank you very much.
For those who came late, we have a paper here, clean paper, if you want to spend some time, share your experiences with Gurudev. This is the time. It is a service when you speak here, because you share your confidential association, your perspective of how you serve your group, and it will encourage everyone who's listening. So it is not just a thing that you're doing, it's actually a service. It's benefiting you as the speaker, and it's benefiting everyone who's listening. So, would you want to take it? Okay. Hare Krishna. Mother Nandini.
Who gets the mic down?
Nama Om Vishnu Vinaya Krishna Consciousness Tamal Krishna Goswami. So, actually, there's so much I'd like to share. These months have been a little difficult. We are in Puerto Rico, serving there with the blessings of our spiritual master, and that news came that evening when Mother Vyasa called me, and I was alone. And my son Keshav answered the phone. He was very loving, but my husband was not there, so I was like, really, I was really in total disbelief. But I turned on Shukadev's Japa tape and I sat in front of my deities and chanted until my husband came in, which was very late. I had some very intense dreams initially with Shukadeva, and it took me 3 weeks. Finally, I posted up an offering on the tkg.com site to put some of my feelings down. I couldn't do it initially. But there was a dream Shukadeva who came to me, and I think I was in LA. There were a group of disciples and Prabhupada, the God brothers and God sisters there. And all of a sudden, they were sitting right next to me, and I was just so amazed. You were just a full, you were just glowing. And I looked at you, and like a child, I said, "Can you write to me from where you are?" And I felt like I was a little girl, and he looked at me with so much compassion and that radiant smile and said, "Yes, Nandini, I can, and I will dictate my words through your heart." I was crying very, very much. I woke up out of the sound sleep crying, and my husband came in, and the dream was ever fresh in my mind, so I shared. I was just like, it was very impactful. He blessed me with coming to me. He assured me that I wasn't alone, that he hadn't left. So, anyway, it's been a very introspective and internal process for me, as it has for everyone, I'm sure, all my God sisters and God brothers. I took initiation. I came here with my husband in 82, and I quickly took formal initiation in 84. And actually, Mother Draupadi was telling me, "Oh, you don't know how excited Gurudev was to have business people. He brought, respectable business people as disciples." And I was laughing. I thought that was very funny. I didn't feel qualified at all. But Srila Gurudev was always very, very, very merciful to me. He knew my nature, and he engaged me according to my nature. And so I was Auntie Nancy, and one of the first services he gave me, I remember he announced in front of the entire temple I should manage the restaurant. And I felt like, really small. I thought, how can I do this, There's probably disciples in there. It was in 84, so who was like then, ladies and gentlemen. So it was a tall order. But anyway, I went in there and endeavored to do that. And then one day, I was living in the house that Vrindavan Bihari and the family, Arjun, lived in. And I had a red bandana around my head. And I was cleaning the griha. And all of a sudden, there was a knock on my front door. And Maturnath I think it might have been Maturnath. It was Maturnath and said, "Nandini, Gurudev wants you right now." And I said, "Well, what for?" And he said, he's doing an interview on TV, and he wants you to interview now. And I was like stunned, I had sweats on, and bandana, I was a mess. And I went, "Well, when is that?" He said, "Oh, you have to be ready in 15 minutes. So I said, wow. And so it had been organized that Drishta Prabhu was to interview, was to be the interviewee, the interviewer, was to conduct the interview. And here they threw a fit and said, Drishta, look at him, how can Drishta be not getting on TV to do this? So that's how I got that service, and so I was zapped it out, and I put on, I remember I put on a black jacket, a white shirt, and a red skirt, looking very, conservative and professional. And why I'm remembering this is because in Puerto Rico on Friday evenings now, we're showing videos of Gurudev with popcorn prasada, and some devotees were over, and they were looking through the videos and saw this Nandini interviews Gurudev, and they wanted to see it, so I put it on. And it was just, as I was going to interview Gurudev,
Explain, this was on TV and the public.
it was on a public TV, it was on TV interview, on TV. So as I'm going on through, they gave me his feedback. And then he said, are you nervous, Nandini? And I said, well, a little bit, And so, actually, I was Nancy. I was not formally initiated then. And so I said, yes, I am a little bit. He said, oh, don't worry, there's only about 3 million people watching this. So I was like, that's how I went into the interview. And one sweet thing that happened on that interview, one person called in about asked about the diet, and Gurudev started speaking about vegetarian diet, and but it's not boring at all. He said, there's like 2,000 ways to cook a potato, and on he was going, and then he looked at me with that smile, we all know, that kind of little bad boy smile. Actually, he looked at me and said, actually, we have a very wonderful restaurant. You may know about it. And of course, I was managing the restaurant at that time, so it was a really funny little dance he did there. And I replied back, yes, I've been there before. So it was very, very merciful. And different times he would engage me in different services like that, public relations services and things. And yes, he came to give us a lot of personal instructions and mercy, coming to our home, cooking in my kitchen. One time he asked me to make khichdi, and the potatoes in California for some reason wouldn't cook. And he was rocking on the rocking chair before my deities. And Nandini, he did that, and every time he called Nandini, I was just now coming, finally he just said, what is going on here, I said, well, I don't know what it is, these potatoes, and he said, oh God, I got in my kitchen and put my apron on, and started cooking in my kitchen. It was really sweet, very personal and sweet.
Did the kitchen cook?
Did you cook? That's It's that weird thing. I can't figure out to this day what it was.
Was that the day that you wanted to eat cheese?
Oh no, that was another day that I moved everything that time. He asked me to make him bread, and I didn't have proper bread making bread, so I used chapati flour, and of course the bread glutes totally, and everything blew that day. And so Srila Gurudev said, so now what are you going to do, Nandini? We've all heard that one. Yeah, now what are you going to do? Well, I said, I have this really nice organic sprouted whole wheat bread, He said, oh, so you're going to feed your guru Kani bread. He said, okay, this is what you do. I want you to go down, I want you to go, I want Velveeta cheese, and I want you to make me a grilled cheese sandwich, and pickles. And so I thought, wow. And so he went out and got Velveeta cheese, and I made these grilled cheese sandwiches. And he took one bite, Lori Gurudev took one bite of the grilled cheese sandwich, and he said, this is just like my mother used to make for me. Did you hear me? one by throw. And my son Jairam, who was 23 now, was really young, looked up at him and said, "My mother never buys that for me." That kind of shoes. And Guru said, "Well, why is that?" He said, "Because she says it's plastic." So Guru didn't really give it to me. I was giving him cotton bread and plastic. Amazing times. And anyway, I guess many personal times that he would allow me to cook for him and come to my home, and he showed me his Nishringa feature more than once.
It's a Nishringa feature.
But one thing that was so wonderful, so amazing, was that even when he would blast me so bad sometimes, I mean, it would never fail. He would personally call me out. See, you make sure are you okay, honey? Kind of just personally calm. You can imagine, you know. And just fast forwarding a little bit, when we, asked him for his blessings to go to Puerto Rico to try, and in my senior years, we have a missionary who I feel like I really wanted to try to do something. The Guru was never mediocre. It wasn't for him. He was not a mediocre bone in his body. And anyway, he gave us his blessings, and we were emailing back and forth constantly over this past year. And he was so encouraging, and I was so just so positive and really pleased with what we were doing, and it gave me a lot of strength in separation with my god sisters and place, my god brothers. And I've been reading Servant of the Servant again. And there's this one pastime I just read where Buddha is in London. He had been called by Prabhupada to go to London to assist opening up the Sankirtan there. And all the wonderful devotees, Yamuna and Shyamasundar and somebody, Maharaja and Janaki, they were all there. Prabhupada called him. So in this pastime, Buddha is walking with Srila Prabhupada. It's cold, it's really cold out. Prabhupada's all wrapped up. And he was walking with his cane. And every time Prabhupada would come to a puddle that was frozen over with the water underneath, he would very forcefully and with focused attention just smash that puddle with his cane. And so this was going on. Every puddle Prabhupada would come and he would crack the ice through. And Buddha was observing this. And finally he asked Prabhupada, why are you doing this? And Prabhupada explained that because this is not the natural state of water. The natural state of this ice is not natural. The natural state is water, is liquid. And it's just like our hearts. Our hearts are hard, but the natural state of the heart is to be soft. And I feel like that. I feel like my Guru gave me tremendous mercy, and I was creeping up. I was never able to surrender fully in any way, shape, or form in my Guru. But somehow or another now, I feel his presence in my life stronger perhaps than I ever have. In his absence, I feel his guidance and his love and his instructions, which I'm grabbing onto to try and really take up. And so that way I'm actually feeling enlightened. So I just want to encourage everybody. I know Buddha's given all of us some very deep instructions, and I encourage everyone to take them out some way in your life. In his last classes, he said, somehow or other, we've got to learn to love Krishna. Somehow or other, we're working, we have our children, we've got to love Krishna. So, I've moved to the mountains far away from the city madness. And of course, we have business in the city, but I'm trying to really fulfill that in the last years of my life. So Hare Krishna.
Jai Madhu Devi. Okay, I've got good news, one good news, and one bad. The bad one is that we've got more speakers now. The good news, we're limiting your talk to 5 minutes. Okay, the next speaker, we are all family here, so you can just, throw your heart out. It's okay, we're a support team here. Haribo! Srila Gurudev Ki! Okay, may we call on Rasa? Rasa Najar?
Rati.
What?
Rati.
Rati Najar, I'm sorry. 5 minutes? Try it. I know it's hard, but we'll try it.
Now, Rasa Mandari is my old friend from Holland too. We used to be in a band together, and so it's not such a big mistake. It's all right. Okay, so I could also say a lot of things, but not in 5 minutes. So I will say also to follow up on Nandini and Kartikeya Prabhu. I think everybody can say the same thing in one sentence. He just showed us what love is. Showed me. I grew up. I was a single child. My parents didn't plan me. They never got married. They never lived together. So they didn't have an example like that. And so I had to survive. So I became, I guess, tough. Young, my mother wasn't very stable mentally, but I was there, so I had to go on. And then when I was 11, my uncle abused me sexually, so that was my first experience really of a grown man, and it wasn't very nice. So Gurudev was my second guru, technically. That was initiated by Bhagavan Prabhu, whom I appreciate very much. He never did anything bad to me. I gave him all my money, which was so much that I didn't figure out, I couldn't understand how much it actually was until now that I'm trying to work and earn my money. This has been $100,000, the inheritance of my mother, who passed away when I was 17. I joined when I was 20, got initiated when I was 21, I think. And when I was 22, my guru left. But we had this one tape, too nice for me. That'll be it, because then the 5 minutes are up. We had this tape when we were at Sankirtan. I was eating so many sweets, and I couldn't really take sugar, but I didn't know that. And if I knew any of it, I didn't want to admit that, because I liked it so much. So I was living on a lot of sugar and a lot of good distribution, and actually my voice would often leave me. So then during Japa we had this tape, Bhagavan Srila Gurudev chanting Japa, which all the Sankirtan girls would listen to, and then in the car, and also when I lost my voice, we just had them on the headphones and just walk back and forth, kind of normal with this chanting. And I was thinking, oh, my Guru is so deep. When he chants, he has a completely different voice. Isn't it amazing? He's so Krishna conscious. So that was my japa for weeks, regularly. And so what happened was, to fast forward, it's a good point, otherwise we never get there. After he left, after I'd gone to Mayapur, Gurudev picked me up, gave me faith that surrender to a guru was necessary and was possible and was beneficial. And I could also do that, learn to do that again. So I was living with that hope. He took us in, he gave my husband and me, he came to for us, he told us, I don't know if it's entirely true, we did not to hear it, we licked it up. He came for us to Radhadesh. He gave us 6 darshans, just the 2 of us in 4 days. Spent hours on us. I don't know why. Just, his big heart.
And we were doing some book distribution, so he liked that, so he took pity on us. So we were already informally connected with him, not initiated, re-initiated. But then we had this Vyasa Puja festival, small time, that we were holding with some friend disciples in England. And I came there and I saw this tape, Shri Gurudev chanting japa. And there was something in my mind. I thought, can I borrow that tape? I just want to go out for a japa walk. He said, sure, go ahead, So I put the tape on, and lo and behold, it wasn't Srila Bhagavan, but it was Srila Tamal Krishna Goswami that I had been hearing for many months, years ago, So when I told this to Gurudev, he loved it. And he gave this technical, philosophical explanation that yes, actually, so you've always been my disciple because the holy name is the real initiator. So see, Krishna took care of you. And then he said, we should find out who else was listening to that tape. Yeah. So he gave me this real peace, that feeling that God is taking care of me. Krishna is taking care of me. That actually this whole episode with Bhagavan, which is of course extremely painful, was like another man that let me down, in one sense, The Guru didn't know this abuse and so many things he didn't know, he just gradually found that out. And when I told him this, he said, I'm so glad you told me this because now I understand much better how to deal with you. And not that he was never angry at me after that, but still, he did really, he was his most concern was that I wouldn't be afraid of him. And he accomplished it. He did. Yes. Not only he, I have this wonderful partner now who is so sweet and also Prabhu. That I just, and when I gained faith in the half the world, after all, it's physically man, my life just became so different. And he was like, he is my most loving father, and he just gave me so much encouragement. And you can see, especially with all my duties, my kid and my partner, I feel like a bird. I feel so happy to be with all of you. I don't know how you all feel, but for me this is so extraordinary. It's not like my normal life, unfortunately. So I'm just so happy. I'm so thankful that you're all here, and I'm not his only disciple, although there were days or moments that I was, because I was so happy for his attention. Right? But now I'm so happy that we have this family, and I'm dedicated to all of you, even though I'm so limited. And I'll always be his spiritual daughter, and I want to be your family member. And actually, I do have some love for you, and I hope it will increase. Shri Gurudev Ki!
Yeah! Wow! Radhi, we'd love to be your family.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna! And by the way, this is your normal situation. You are a spiritual being. Very beautiful. So our next speaker is Mahaprabhu Das. He's our lawyer from ISKCON, Bombay. Hare Krishna. No legal subjects. Yeah. He's a disciple of Bhaktivedanta Swami. Haribo!
Hare Krishna. Gurudev met me when I already crossed 40 in 1978. He always said that Swami Maharaja knows very well in which situation I was there.
It's all true.
I'm not going to narrate that story. So this is how Krishna's arrangement. Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaja and Giriraj Maharaj. On that day, I was gone to Bangalore, no, Gujarat. Yashmati Nandan Prabhu invited me. Otherwise, all foreigners on that day, what has happened before one day, 2nd June 1978, all the people, all of them got arrested. And somehow or other, I was the only life member who I came to Krishna Consciousness, became life member on the first day, 14th January when Jew temple was inaugurated. And they came to my residence, this has happened. The next day Maharaj came, Giriraj Maharaj and Goswami Maharaj, and we are going to lawyer. So when we are going to lawyer, at that time, I was not knowing much of the philosophy also. So lawyer was top lawyer in Bombay. He was smoking very heavily, and Giriraj Maharaj and Goswami Maharaj were sitting there. But they were satisfied that I had taken them to the best lawyer available in India, practically. And then he came down, he says, wonderful, you have done wonderful thing. Finally, we won the matter, everything, all the devotees were released. Sridhar Swami was one of them. And the case was completely over. But he came down from the lawyer's office. He was sitting in the car. And 4 hours he was banging on me so heavily. I had no choice but to start chanting 16 rounds, putting Katri Mala, putting Tilak. From that day I have never stopped putting Tilak. And even in court and Supreme Court and High Court, everywhere. And Jyoti, and I was so much impressed by talking to him. He is very heavy. Means whatever he will take, he will see to it. That's being done. Means he takes everything as a project. And until unless, and when he maintains, that's he will not touch anything, or whatever he will touch, he will take care up to the end. And though I met him very last time, but he has written letters to Bombay management if there is any problem, because this Prabhupada, succession for a letter of administration was pending for last 20 years. And he was asking them, why this is not happening? So our company, our solicitors are, forget about your solicitor, just go to Mahaprabhu Das. And this is my instruction to you, people, just follow it. And then within 2 months' time, somehow or other I got it, the things done by his mercy. Then, Govardhan property, they wanted to purchase at that time. You see, this was really, the Govardhan, that person, king, and his son was such a rascal. I can't explain all those details. 43 days. He said, Mahaprabhu, I want you to handle this thing. I said, Maharaj, but I am from Bombay, and this is UP, and this place is such a place I don't know how to do. It's your job. I want you to do that thing. And somehow with his mercy, I was stationed there in that area for 43 days. We got that Govardhan property. What I want to tell you something little really. Maharaj has some special potency. He was right hand of Srila Prabhupada. He was actually managing. He has a vision to manage the total ISKCON movement. Actually, just like yesterday, Giriraj Maharaj was speaking on the very touching subject, how the dog, that ball he was throwing and then bringing back and then finally climbing there. And he says, come back.
he knew actually what's happening there. But unfortunately, what is happening is we recognize only people when they leave this world. We are so dull that we cannot understand the person when he is available on this earth. That is our unfortunate part. More we are knowing about him. Last year when he came to India, he phoned me that Mahaprabhu, I was not there because I was too heavily involved in ISKCON legal matters in Calcutta and Bangalore. So I was not there. So twice he phoned me that I want to come and stay with you. In spite of Radha Gopinath Mandir and in spite of Jew temple, I have very small place, but he wanted just to encourage me. He just wanted to come and stay with me. When my wife was suffering and she was in the hospital, he phoned from China several years ago, and 45 minutes he was talking. And he was asking many minute details about the sickness, and finally I have to put the doctor. He has to talk to the doctor. I was not able to answer his questions, what he was asking me. And I tell you that he is so personal. And because of his personal behavior, the way he was talking to the people, and in Mayapur, this time, Radhanath Swami told, actually, I have written 108 points which Radhanath Swami spoke about him when we were talking in Radha Gopinath Mandir about Maharaj. I have written those 108 points in my diary, and all 108 points are very, very important. I'm just going to mention 1 or 2 points only. So he said, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, I have great hope from this Radha Gopinath Mandir Chapati. Prabhupada desire will be fulfilled, and you are leading this Radha Gopinath Mandir. He has a very big hope. But now after seeing here, after listening our Nityananda Prabhu in New Vrindavan before 1 month, when he spoke on the subject, and yesterday I heard Yudhishthira Prabhu, I can understand what these people, they great devotees, they are. I cannot imagine that what type of disciple Nityananda Prabhu, we will like to have their darshan there in India. We want to know what type of, and they will come there actually to take the delivery of this sandal, yogi sandal from there, because they want to preserve that sandal because that was his desire. So what Maharaj has done throughout the world for the total movement, the way he got the Bombay Mayapur land, the way he managed Bombay Pandal, the way he started Radha Damodar party, the way by the money which came from Radha Damodar party, this Bombay temple, Mayapur temple, the Vrindavan temple, this is the product of Radha Damodar party. Because of the money which came. So it's actually he is connected with everywhere throughout the Hare Krishna movement. Every single person, directly or indirectly, is really related to him. And they know it very well. Everybody knows very well what Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj actually he is. And but only difficulty we found that we were not having much, association of Maharaj. When in the beginning he was in 78, he was there. Then Maharaj was also there. Viraj Maharaj was also there. But afterwards, he came this side. But somehow or other, when I asked him, Maharaj, we have got one property in Rishikesh, and we have wonderful Rishikesh property which has 24 rooms near Ganga and very nice marble temple. I have written that letter to all the GVCs and Gurus. Please, if you want to take that temple, because we are trustee here. And so there were 2 trustees of other Kirtana Swami's trustees,
two people are in charge of that. I said, Maharaja, I can get this temple to you, provided somebody is ready and willing to take the lead. And he wrote to me, my desire is actually that I want to stay in India. And my desire is that I want to read, I want to pass time there, read there. But actually, my life, the later part of life, I want to be in India. So, if Rishikesh property is available, I will be very, very happy. So, please, you take charge, give me everything ready. I said, Maharaj, somebody has to come first who is ready to take charge. Then legally I can manage the thing. But until unless some person who is ready to take charge first, as nobody is what I found finally, and still the property is in their hand. So like that I can go on, but last point I can say, he has given us the guidelines. In Mayapur, he has said clearly. Actually, he's in the Daya, only 2 days. In the Govardhan, he said that, you see, Mahaprabhu, remember one thing, that we should never consider those people who have left ISKCON, don't consider them or talk anything about them. In what circumstances the people have left ISKCON, you should give great respect to them. And don't consider them as if they are gone up case. And in Mayapur, finally he has given answer for all our questions, and that is that if we want to solve any problem, all the problem can be solved if we really start chanting properly. And that's why he started having wonderful kirtans in his place, and he was really very, very keenly and deeply interested. And now I am coming to the end of the time.
Mahaprabhu ki jai.
And just because he said that, we should properly chant. Let's give it a try. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. जोर से बोलो.
Okay, thank you, Mahaprabhu Das. And now we have a god sister from Canada. She flew all the way from Vancouver just to be with us. May we call on Mathura Devidasi. Mother Mathura, Haribo. Let's give her a big Haribo. Haribo.
And I try not to cry.
Go ahead.
Every time so Vyasa Puja in the Philippines, they always say, oh, she's gonna cry, she's gonna cry. I joined in the Philippines. I joined in the Philippines in around 1980, 1982. And Ananda Vrindavan, Archana Devidasi, Nila Monica, myself, and Nicola the Brahmacharis, they're all traveling Sankirtan party. And we were all initiated by, except for Archana, by Hansa Prabhu. And so when we found out that Sibu Yatra had surrendered to Gurudev, so we made a plan to go and travel in Sankirtan without coming back. Like, we're not going to surrender. We're going to be Hansa Dutta team, and we're not going to surrender. So the temple president at that time, they kept calling us, my name was Mani Manjari at that time, said, you have to come. Tamal Krishna Maharaj wanted to speak to you and all the girls, because I was leading the party at that time. And I said, no, unless I hear from Hansadeva himself, or we're good, we're doing well, we're distributing books, but we ran out of books. And so they wouldn't send us any more And so we're forced to go back to Manila Temple. And then, I don't know how they did, they just orchestrated the whole thing, and then we were called to go to the hotel where Gurudev was staying. And so our heart was all and then so we went inside the room. I remember Guru Puja myself, I think Neela Mama was there. And we offered obeisances, Gurudev was sitting there. And then he said, "Oh, my majority, I heard so much about you. I expected a big, tall, big lady, really, really tough, because you were so hard to surrender. We were like, one of the last, we were one of the last ones to surrender, and Gurudev was like, he was really, really pleased, and that we did finally surrender. After my initiation, I was telling him, really, see it, I feel like
It's okay.
Go ahead.
I said, Gurudev, it's really hard, because I was really, really close to him. And I said, Gurudev, this is so hard to surrender. And Gurudev said, don't worry, Mathuralila, I'll be patient. Please give me the chance. I said, okay, Gurudev. And, it was a very sensitive thing because he knew where I was. And all through the years, Gurudev has just so kindly taken care of me and really, really actually very, very sensitive towards how I feel and what happened. I remember when there was I had to cook. It's the first I had not cooked. It was the first time I had to cook for him, and somehow I made a kachori and it didn't turn out very good. I was told that the dough was so bouncy that Gurudev was bouncing it out. He was bouncing it on the table. I think he was bouncing and I said, hey, you can play tennis now. I was so I heard about it, I was just crying. Because that morning Bhagavatam class was about Srimati Radharani, who was an expert cook. And if you pray to her and with her mercy, that prasadam will turn up. So I was praying so hard to Srimati Radharani, but that was the thing. So I was doing japa and he called me, oh no. I couldn't resist, I bowed down and I just started crying and I said, Gurudev, I'm sorry about the kachori, I heard what happened and you were making fun. I said, Gurudev said, well, the dough is a little tough, but the inside tastes good. And he wrote me all the time. I used to write to him all the time and he would write wherever I was and respond. And it's the reason why I'm really, really sad, because he really did try really, really hard to prove to me that he loves me and that he really, really cared. And all his letters was all an expression of how he wanted to take him out of that. At one time I was having problems with my spiritual life and I wanted to leave. And I had a darshan with him in Houston, and I believe it was before the installation of the chakras. I don't remember. And the darshan, I was there, and Gurudev was sitting down with his secretary, but I couldn't speak. I was just, keeping everything aside. And Gurudev asked the secretary to go. So it was just Gurudev and I in the room. And Gurudev was saying, Mathuralila, I can't get in trouble speaking with a woman in the room by myself. But he said that I don't care if the GBC get in my case, my duty now is to take you home back to God and to save your spiritual life. Because you are on a razor edge and I don't care what it is. So the darshan lasted for 3 hours and I went back to Dallas and I remember Gurudev will call almost every day. Because I would always say, but Gurudev, my mind is telling me this, my mind is telling me this, and then he would defeat my mind and tell me something else. And he would call in Dallas and say, "Where's Matura Lila? Go find her." He wanted to speak to me. And sometimes after Mongol Arti, I get so tired to jump at them, I would hide inside the restaurant and sleep in one of the gazebos, and they'll all be looking for me. And then finally, they'll find me. Gurudev just talk to me and say, "So Matura Lila, how is your mind today?" And then I would just speak to him like that. And so many other, one of his letters he mentioned that I really appreciate the love you have for me. And I also hope that you appreciate the meaning of having a bona fide spiritualist. And so Gurudev, I never had a chance to tell you that I really thank you for saving Philippines and for accepting me as your disciple. And I will leave by your letters. I will keep reading them and your instruction. And in spite of all in the material world, he uses them in material. Oh, the last time, one of his instruction actually. He was sitting over there during japa time, and he would always face this way. And I would see in that corner where the Mataji was. And I was chanting japa. I like to close my eyes and chant the Japsukha and listen to my rounds. And I didn't realize that Gurudev had to stand up and walk all the way and sat beside me. And I didn't know. It's just my eyes was. All of a sudden I heard some chanting, and I looked and there was Gurudev. And then over my obeisances, and he goes, "How Matura, are you learning from the miseries of the material world?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And that was it. And then he stammered, he kept chanting, and he went and sat down. So my strength will be coming from his letters and his instructions, his tapes. And now I used to think, oh, Gurudev is in Dallas or he's in Cambridge, but now I feel that he is in my heart. And he is with Prabhupada, and actually I have an even better disciple because he can watch me now from anywhere. And thank you very much, Srila Gurudev, and please, I beg to all your lotus feet, my God uncles and God brothers and guys, please give me your blessing that I may one day become a pure devotee and be able to serve Gurudev and be able to actually assist him in serving Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. I wanted to say, I got a call and I have to go out of town. So I was hoping to see you all tomorrow before everybody starts moving. I'll be back tomorrow, but I won't be back in time. Maybe like some of you may leave. I wanted to say to all of you, thank you very much for visiting this program. We just saw off the guests who came here for the interfaith program and the academic community people, and we were very happy. The comment they made to us was you Hare Krishnas are the best when it comes to reading from the heart. Wow. That you may not be technically proficient at what you do, but because you come straight from the heart and you are so honest in your dealings, we feel very happy. In fact, more than overcomes any of the faults that we might otherwise have. The fact is that they love everybody here. They dance. They love the dances. They love the way the congregation. They said, we wish we had congregations like yours, who would respond like this to our children when they dance or they do something like this. They generally are a little more stoic. We tend to be a little more free flowing, and they really appreciated it. And so I just wanted to thank you because they felt that you were very well behaved and that they truly enjoyed it. It was a great experience for them just being here. And they felt that was a testimony to Srila Gurudev, although we know how many faults we have. We don't have enough fingers for probably the whole community doesn't have enough fingers to count on what faults we have. And I would like to say, please forgive us for all of our faults, shortcomings, and our offenses while you're here.
Excuse me. What are you talking about? These guys, did they throw a good party or what? I don't know. Don't forget, we want to thank you for throwing a good party. I mean, in any endeavor, there's a flow. That's it, according to our scriptures. But, and also Prabhupada would quote that. But in this party, there was no flow. I mean, the prasadam was good.
I decided to speak in front of Balaram. That's a mistake. You can't get past.
That's not even the flow.
You just weren't big enough to block.
Anyway, again, I'd like to say thank you very much from the deepest recess of our hearts that you came. You took all this trouble to actually come here, spend your very valuable time with us, and actually, like the other day we were fundraising, people gave so much money from their hearts. None of that amount of money compares to all that you did by coming and sharing your association with us. You've certainly made us very much richer for your association. In fact, I was thinking that I wouldn't put $1 million value on each of the association that we got. Each of you made efforts worth millions and millions of dollars. And so much more valuable than all the donations that we may have received or anything else that we received was your association. We really appreciate it. And we're hoping that in our future programs that you will also come along in the same spontaneous way, and that you'll bring some friends along, and that we will step up to the plate a little better and serve you better for all the things that we didn't do as well as this time. We're hoping that we'll do better next time. But again, thank you very much for visiting with us, and please come back again and again. And thank you for being such nice devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Nityananda Prabhuji. God devotees ki. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. So there's a short announcement. If any one of you would be interested, there are milkshakes and cookies and chihuahuas at the dining room upstairs. If you're interested, feel free to go. And our next speaker, without any more minutes spent, let's go on Dira Lalita Mataji. When I say Dira Lalita.
And the day and Thursday that we heard about Srila Gurudev, I was in the kitchen. I'm always in the kitchen. And I was making sandesh, and a Vajrayana came and said that to me, and I said, I immediately ran into the temple to Radha Kalachani, because Srila Gurudev has always said to me, like Balaram has said, Krishna and Radharani are your best friends. And all my spiritual life, he taught me how to worship the deities and how to take shelter of his God sisters and God brothers. And so I was quite alarmed when I heard that. I couldn't believe it, so I ran to the deities and I said, no, you told me that you would protect. I've heard it all these years that you will protect your devotee. I said, Gurudev, no doubt, is your devotee. And so I was quite upset, and I ran across the street to my God sisters, and I said, is this true? And she said, yes. So these months have been very difficult for me, because I know Gurudev is here. There's no doubt in my mind about that, and I'm upset because I cannot see him. But when I see his God brothers come here, because he would always say to me, I want my God brothers to be here. I want my God sisters to be here like it used to be. And so when I see them, even the other day I saw someone, Gurudev would always come through the Vajrayana and come to the temple. He would sit here. And someone came through the kitchen, and they had some shoes on like Srila Gurudev. And he would leave his shoes there. I stood there looking in amazement. I said, someone is helping me to remember my spiritual master. And so I was very relieved, because that is my prayer right now. to always remember and never forget my spiritual master. Even though I'm hearing everyone say it, one of my guys just said, that picture looks just like Gurudev is here. I said, he is here. He is here. And so every day when I come to the temple, I look up at those blinds, because he would open those blinds and howl at me and say, Julie, so where are you going? And I would have a big pot because I was so protective of my pot that I couldn't burpee, but I would carry that pot. He said, why are you carrying that pot? I said, I only want Burfie to be cooked in his pot. And he would just shake his head. As we all know, that is one of the things he do. And so I look every day when I come, I don't carry that pot anymore because my god sister a year ago, before she left her body, arranged for me to get a proper pot. Because she knew how much Gurudev loved for me to cook sweets, and he wanted to do it right. He just didn't want me to cook any sweets. So the one thing I missed this time of the year is he would always bring me a package. And in that package would be sweets. And I knew when he gave me those sweets, he was trying to tell me, you have to do your service properly. And then he would always have my god sisters come and tell Lisa, the Rasabulas are not squeaking, what's going on? And so those things I miss because he has always instructed me in that service. So I challenge all my god sisters and everyone here, I really need to hear from you. Are the Rasabulas squeaking? How does the Sandesh taste? How is my service going? Because if I don't know, then I will not want to do it. Because it's simply by his mercy and all of you that I am doing the service. Because nobody likes to be over a hot fire when it's 90 degrees outside. No one does. But I only do it because I love my spiritual masters. My spiritual masters, should I say. And the other reason I do it is because I love all of you. Because each one of you have touched my heart. You know, even if you don't speak to me, you still touch my heart because at least you glanced at me. So, with ending, I would like to say, please help me, because each day it seems like a bigger effort, because Gurudev, one thing since 1980, he is very expert at pushing. So I know what to do. He says, just associate with the devotees to a reason, and you will be okay. So I'm begging for all of you, please let me associate with you. And I challenge everybody, because the orgy is going on, to take someone's hand and let's chant the holy name. Because I love to dance with my god sisters, they all know that. Because that's a relationship. I might not see them because I'm always in the kitchen, but I know when I get in the temple room and I hear the sound of the drums, the sound of the cortals, I can just let go and dance with my god sisters. Hare Krishna.
Believe it or not, I've seen her dance at Bhaktivedanta. She can fly dancing. And don't worry, dear, even in my diabetic, if you will fax the sweet to me, I will taste it. So we call on Maharaja. He's very close friend and god sister of Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Vanchikalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvyanja Tathidam bhavani vaishnavi. Gurudev is definitely a magic carpetry. I have to say to all of the devotees here in Dallas, disciples of Gurudev, that I can't hardly express to you how moving it is to me to hear you all speak, and to really understand and feel the presence that Gurudev has had in our lives. And it really was like the beginning years of Prabhupada's presence when devotees got really intimate association. And when I came to the movement, that part was kind of already past because there were so many thousands of devotees already. And I didn't even get that kind of association from Gurudev really until I came here. Because it was the big sannyasis at the time that I was there, and there wasn't so much exchanges between men and women. As a matter of fact, sometimes I would be really angry about that and jealous that I couldn't get that association the way I wanted it. And even though sometimes I was angry at him for some of the things he did and said, I never disliked him. You can't dislike him, no matter what. And when I came here to Dallas, I felt just taken in by the world history. And I was thinking about something that Maharaja and Jaluna shared with me once in the beginning years, when Tamal Krishna Goswami first came to the movement. He was not an ordinary person, because when he came to the movement, Malati and Jaluna said, "What are we going to do about him?" The Gurudev comes in. Organization, get this thing organized. And people were afraid, the devotees were afraid that something was going to be missing. And but those things had to be established. The organization had to be established. And so he, I would say the word that came to me for him is Logan, from the Nectar Devotion, which is just intense anxiety for Krishna. And at that time, him for Prabhupada. He just was scarfing up Prabhupada's association and just greedy. Just took it, you know. And anybody who could surpass it, well, if they could find it, find ways they could. And just as we couldn't keep up with Prabhupada, even on a morning walk, it was hard to keep up with the step. When I hear all these stories, especially since he's passing away, I'm really overwhelmed with amazement at how could he possibly do all those things. I mean, my life seems to be overwhelmingly full, just trying to keep up with all the things that I do is nothing in comparison. And just by that I know that, you know, there's not an ordinary bone in his body. I don't know who he is, but he's somebody very, very extraordinary. And the other thing I just wanted to mention is Prabhupada always made a point of saying there's a person trying to live in the big bucket, and how important one is to the other. It really is really a prime example of the person by life. And I just really, really am missing and going to always miss him when I come here. I keep thinking that he's going to be here. And today again was a reminder that his physical presence is not here, but his spiritual presence certainly is. And I want to thank all of you devotees here for always welcoming me. I feel so at home when I come here to Dallas. Thank you.
Thank you. So we want to call on Raja Sevaki. Madhu? Haribo.
This weekend has been really quite an amazing weekend. I'm just amazed at the people I'm surrounded by. I'm fortunate at being part of such a family. This is the first time I've been here for about 7 years. And when I was here, I lived here I think about 6 months. And searched for a Gurudev here. And I haven't been back until yesterday. And it's like coming into his house. It felt like coming into the family home. And over the years you hear that, this is where Gurudev's closest disciples are. In a sense, the ones who trained so well. Those who were really dear to him, he brought here to Dallas and asked to set up this temple that worked so hard and they're so loyal. We hear so many things about the Dallas devotees, and when you come here, you can feel, what he actually gave to those disciples, because it's like nowhere else in the world, and it really is like the family home, and he was our father. The family is here. I feel more at home here than I ever had anywhere, and it's really amazing. And I can think of 1,000 things to say about Buddha. And one thing I always hear about him is he was so personal. He was the most personal person I knew, and he had a way of just reaching everybody, just getting that a little bit further into your heart than anybody else did. And I saw him do it with everyone, just absolutely everyone. And I think the most impressive things about my Krishna consciousness, my life in the Krishna conscious movement have been that people gave me a little bit of Gurudev that they had. And my time with him is my time with him, but when I hear other people talking about him, it never ceases to amaze me how many people he was to everyone. He was so different to everyone. And I remember, I think it was 96, one moment when we came back, and I was in Sydney, and I saw him walking up the stairs, and I was just watching his back, and he stopped and he turned around and looked down at me and said, "Hello, who are you?" And I said, "I'm Braja's Devi." And he said, "That's a very beautiful name. Who gave you that name?" And I said, "Tamal Krishna Goswami." And he went, "Really?" He said, "Tamal Krishna Goswami is my best friend in the entire world, besides Prabhupada." And I said, "Yeah, mine too." And he said, "Well, maybe we can be friends." And I said, "Yeah, okay, that would be nice." And we became very close, darling, and children, I was so happy for me and for him. And it was just another little bit of his personal, injection that he gave me Bhaktivedanta. And he said, "He's the perfect uncle for you because you're both bold and brash and you never know when to keep your mouth shut." And you'd be really good for each other. And it's kind of true, I guess. And so, he was just really, really personal, and I miss him dreadfully. And I'm just so glad to be here this weekend because I felt him more than ever before in my life. And I thank you Lord for that.
Yeah.
A quick announcement here, is Mr. Harinam.
The Harinam's going at 9 sharp. We're leaving at 9 o'clock because there's Maharajas want to go out and be back on time. There's mango milkshakes and chidwa upstairs. If anybody wants to take a quick, no chidwa, mango.
This is Gurude's recipe.
Gurude's recipe chidwa and mango milkshake. So please.
Mango milkshake.
Chidwa.
And chidwa.
Take it now and come back down here by 9 because the bands are going at 9 sharp.
9 sharp.
What's the sorry over tomorrow morning? Let's continue.
Now this is it. It's either we, I don't know, I'm not from here. I'm just
More.
taking over a little bit of a pack here. But let me give Krishna Kripa to you. If you're not interested in the mango lassi and the chidwa, I'll give you Krishna Kripa. How about it?
Actually, since they're talking about the Prashana, it's actually the first time that this amount of Gurude's recipe chidwa was ever made. We honored this for about 15, 16 years. And we sent it from various places in the world. Maybe there was something going from Houston or Dallas. If they arrived without it, he would say, why not? He'd call them. They didn't send me the chidwa. It's such and such. Why? We knew they were coming, man. We never really had an answer. We made sure every other, we didn't miss anything. But it's very nice. If you get a chance to try it, please do it. I don't think they'll run. What I wanted to say, it's a little different from some combination of a lot of things which have been said over the weekend. About Shiva Gurudev, about his disciples, about his temples, etc. It's been a point of my meditation for the past 3 months or so, since he decided to rejoin Brahma. And it's that, as disciples, now that our spiritual master has physically departed from us, he has entered into our hearts completely. This has been said many times. But as such, we should be very determined to carry out one specific service that Srila Gurudev found probably more dear than anything else he was doing for many, many years. And I've been his disciple since 1978. He periodically in various difficulties within his different attacks, different court cases, different philosophies and everything, and how different problems going on within the movement itself. And time and time and time and again, he would tell me, you know, I think my mission in life is to simply hold this movement together. And he really, over and above just about anyone, dedicated so much time and energy in just keeping his godbrothers, disciples, all the congregation, everyone he contacted and spoke with, or had any interaction with, faithful within this movement, which is Tamal. Faithful in Tamal, faithful in this movement. So it's a very difficult time for all of us, and now particularly we're feeling devastated. I'm sure. I know I am. I still feel crying on a regular basis. It's been a tough weekend for me. It's really a tough weekend. But I think we really need to see how good it is within all of our hearts and work diligently to hold ourselves together, because I think it's going to get a little heavier in another year or two when our enthusiasm starts to wane a little bit more, because we don't have Buddhist direct instructions and it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really difficult to feel. We saw in Srila Prabhupada's disciples how many left after about 2 years or so. It just became difficult to go on without that personal association, that personal interaction. Because we see that the divine is really the most important. But that little piece of Gurudev in each and every one of us hearts can carry all of us collectively through these difficult times. I mean, we've heard so much glorification of the temples and centers Srila Gurudev has throughout the world. What a joy it is for the devotees to visit them, to appreciate and see that, yes, these are Tamal Krishna Goswami's disciples. They're so good. They treat us so nicely. They always take care of us. They're always conscious of our being there. It's a big thing that these honest folks. And if we could just do it for each other also, particularly now, in the next few years, will be probably harder than 5 years from now. We'll all be able to carry on. We can make it to that first time. So please, with all of our support that we have, each and every one of us, individually and collectively, we can hold this mission together and hold this community together. I mean, this is a stark reality that spiritual masters left us, but this is going to start being a regular thing, unfortunately, over the next 20 or 30 years. A lot of disciples are going to go through this. And it's going to happen. It's our reality. It's unfortunate. It's morbid in some ways to think about that, but it means that we have to carry the torch. We have to carry those instructions with us. It's going to be on our shoulders. It's going to be on our children's shoulders that they become devotees. Whereas some of us, the second generation, begins initiating at some point. Those disciples will have this mission also, so we have to carry it forward. We have to invite it within our hearts and keep it there, safe. And then present it. Use it for all we can. Use our life as He used His to simply save the world. So it's a big mission. It's a big request, but that's what He did. And we really, really should try our best to follow in His footsteps and try to accomplish it, even if it's on a very small scale. We're only in one little place. Do everything to hold that together. Keep everyone you're associated with invited with this desire to attain Krishna Bhakti. So it's where Maharaja never stopped. He never gave up on anyone. It's remarkable. And here we've seen this weekend particularly, there have been disciples that have come in that haven't been here for 10, 12, 13 years. And it's a note that says, thank you. So with that, I will say that the Harinam leaves in about 5 minutes. There is Rashadam upstairs. I don't say that anyone should leave. If we want to keep doing this, please, there'll be plenty of devotees in the Harinam. I'm going also. It's one of those things when you have a big fan, you always end up going. Everybody else goes. But thank you very much. I hope I didn't offend anyone or disturb anyone.
Krishna Consciousness. Well, you go. Thank you very much. What should we do? I should be politically correct here. Yeah, we have the. Would you want to go through with this, majority of the ladies? We have 1 5-minute space for. Think about it. Let's give a 3-minute talk for Mother Hari Kanta. Hariho. Would you like to go?
No, I'm not interrupting. I think, since Nishananda is leaving tomorrow, it means that we have the right to take over. So perhaps in the mornings, if we want.
I think that would be a great idea. That'd be a great idea because I'm cooking pancakes. I don't think that I was ready by 8:30.
So after greeting the deities in Guru Puja, maybe Balapriya can
I'm flying out tomorrow at 20.
what time?
7 o'clock.
What airline?
Southwest.
They just canceled all flights. Anyway, so at 7:30, whoever hasn't spoken will just continue until. Do you want to stop now? Everybody want to find out? I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. I'm just a bystander.
Okay,
Sounds good.
let's think about it. 3 minutes top. Maharaja.
Maybe think about it for a moment.
Yeah.
I'll keep it brief because I also would like going on. I first met Srila Gurudev in 1985. Like Mother Teresa, I tend to cry, so I'll try not to keep it short. At that time, I just moved to Austin, Texas to start my graduate studies. I left everything behind in the Midwest and was feeling very unsure about what I was doing. I also at that time had not really been around a temple or around a community of devotees, so I didn't know a lot of things. What I knew was very little. And I met Srila Gurudev on that first visit, and I'd heard about spiritual masters, but really didn't even understand what that concept was. So, but even just on my first meeting with him, looking back on it now, I know at the time, even though I didn't realize it, I could tell that I knew already that I found spiritual masters. And at that time, Srila Gurudev was also, as you all know, just starting to go back to school, so we kind of started together, as it were. And by Srila Gurudev's mercy and Krishna's mercy and the support of all my brothers and god sisters, I was just recently able to finish my graduate work.
Haribo!
And it was a very bittersweet moment, of course, because it happened, I defended my dissertation on May 10th, and it was, I really felt Srila Gurudev's presence, but yet, of course, really wanted to call him and talk to him personally. So I know that finally that, part of my life and my service, that has been my service pretty much for the last 7 years, was, complete and moving on to the next phase. But at the same time, thankfully my dear friend, Vyasa, who spoke earlier, who also lives in Austin, it was so nice because I was staying with her and she actually gave me a little picture of Srila Gurudev, so he was there with me. And shortly after I found out about his leaving his body, of course, like everyone, I just was wondering what's going to happen now, and especially because I've always lived outside the temple, just very isolated in a physical sense. I just felt like, who was going to protect me? But again, I found out on Thursday, of course, in March, and that very next Monday I had a job interview, which was right near the Lagoon Beach Temple, and so I just already in the midst of my grief that I was sort of putting off, because I knew I couldn't face it yet. I felt so fortunate to be able to be near the temple and was able to have darshan of the deities there. It was just, I felt like, okay, I'm still, Gurudev is still being so merciful, and really, taking care of me, making sure I'll be okay. So, but I also just wanted to say really briefly that ever since I'm coming to the Dallas community, I've always, Srila Gurudev has always shown me so much mercy and kindness, but I also have been so fortunate to be blessed with mercy from the members of this community who have really taken me in and really made me feel like a member of a family. And that's so important to me.
And I just hope and pray that we can all stay a close and supportive and loving family. So, and I wanted to say just really briefly at the very end, since I'm crying and getting very emotional, I'm going to give a little joke, I suppose, and sort of a funny, just very brief kind of memory from Srila Gurudev. He always was very merciful and letting me help to serve whenever I came to visit. And again, my God-sisters and godfathers were very nice and making sure that I was able to do some service when I was here, including helping to serve, even though I was not very good at it. But so one time I was in Srila Gurudev's kitchen, and we were getting ready, and you know how it is when you serve, it's just like tense before just waiting for that bell to ring, and so we were all just sort of standing at the ready, and we heard the door open from the dining room, and I can't remember exactly the details, but somehow or other, people, the servers and Srila Gurudev all ended up out in the hallway together. We were just kind of standing there, just chatting a little bit, and there was a fly sort of, buzzing around while we were talking. And, we were just sort of chatting, and as Srila Gurudev was talking, he just took his hand and just went, shh, and caught the fly. And we all were just standing there, and maybe like, how could you do that? And Srila Gurudev just kind of gave us his little, look, and he said, I'm a man with many hidden talents.
So now, are we down to a decision? What? What's the decision?
I think anyone that wants to go on Harinam should go on Harinam, and if there's enough left to speak, they want to continue. And tomorrow morning, 7:30.
Okay, so we are stopping here. Let's go on Harinam.
Yeah.
Okay, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Srila Gurudev ki, Gaur Pranandi.
Just be me and him and perhaps one or two other devotees. And occasionally I would take him to the lake that we had there and we would go for a swim. And one time, it was just Gurudev, myself, and a devotee named Jagari. Remember Jagari? Now Jagari was a real Texan, and he was a very big personality, and he had a very large head, which was a very interesting physical feature. He was a bit eccentric, and Srila Gurudev, in his unlimited mercy, we tried to encourage every single person who came into his realm. And so Srila Gurudev used a very unusual means one time to try to make Jagari feel welcome. So while we were driving to the lake, Gurudev turns to Jagari and says, "Where are you from?" Jagari says, "I'm from Texas, Srila Gurudev." Gurudev says, "You look like a Texan." And then he did an imitation of Texan, which I'm going to repeat now, because they're asked for humorous stories. And I thought this was one of the most unusual things I ever saw Srila Gurudev do. And he says, "Jagari, huh? Well," and he starts doing an imitation of a TV commercial. He goes, "My name is Jagari. When I get finished with a hard day of devotional service, I like to sit down with a big bowl of camel beads." Made Jagari laugh hysterically and feel really well from him. And it was just a very special moment. I decided I'd share with you.
Anyone else? I can throw in some quick ones. When I first went here in '84 from Houston, I quit my job and came up. Immediately, the Tamal president was smart enough to know that I didn't know enough to say no. So for 11 weeks straight, within, a week of being here, I was Tamal Krishna Goswami's servant and secretary for 11 weeks straight. So I remember being so much on edge that one night, it was like 1 in the morning, I heard the buzzer. And for those of you who've been upstairs, it's like a bzzz type of noise. And then so I just jump up because I was sleeping in the next room. And I jump up and I go right to his door and I try to turn it lock. I tried to knock. I figured something happened, and then I realized I had been dreaming. So I did not. That was